city of Guangzhou, one of the biggest metropolises in China. It has a history of over 2,000 years, and the local people have maintained a special culture. They speak Cantonese, which is completely incomprehensible for people like me, and they love drinking tea. You can find a cup of tea ready for you anytime, anywhere in the city. Guangzhou's status as an international harbor goes back 1,000 years. It was a departure point for intrepid travelers making the sea voyage from Asia to Europe and Africa. Today it is called the South Gate of China, and it's become a key commercial and manufacturing center with Hong Kong and Shenzhen as close neighbors. Guangzhou is one of China's brightest mega cities. It is clearly an international center, yet it retains a distinctively local flavor. In the shadows of skyscrapers and neon lights, you can find ancient buildings that have survived centuries of wind and rain. These buildings were built to suit Guangzhou's moist, balmy climate, typically with big spaces and good ventilation. The decoration lavished on them reflected the family's affluence. Cantonese food rates highly in the massive Chinese culinary estate, and everybody around here is a full-time gourmet. People are obsessed with soup, tea, and extremely refined cooking. For the rest of China, Guangzhou is best known for its high average income and its place at the frontier of fashion. Day and night, the city is like an engine that never stops. It keeps going to sustain the myriad needs of the 6 million people crammed into the city proper. Without a doubt, only people as enterprising and energetic as those in Guangzhou could create a place with this kind of dynamism. If I lived 100 years ago here in Guangzhou, and my family name was Chen, I would come to this grand temple to worship my ancestors twice a year during spring and autumn. And I would also come here for the spring festival celebrations. Thousands of people from the Chen family would be here. And this magnificent gate, covered with incredible carvings, would also be open. But it's only for important people in the family. Small potato like me, especially as a female, can only use the side gate. Either way, I would be very proud to be here. The whole Chinese social structure is based on family bonds. Such bonds can and have created very influential clans. The mere structure and format of this temple reveals the important status the Chen family once enjoyed. Built during the late Qing dynasty or the late 19th century, the Chen family ancestral temple was the focal point for the Chen people living in 72 counties throughout Guangdong. The family recruited the most able, skilled workers of the time to decorate this sacred place. There are some really impressive sculptures and relief work. Auspicious themes are everywhere. They are realized in the brightly painted plaster sculptures on the roofs, in the stone carvings, as well as in the wood window panels. You can almost feel them coming to life. Remember, this is more than craftsmanship. On the lower side of the gate, we have auspicious plants and animals, and on the upper side, there are all kinds of stories from traditional Chinese folklore and literature. For example, this one is a folklore of Dragon King and the 80 immortals having a banquet with Jade Emperor up there on heaven, the most auspicious occasion you could imagine in the old times. Now, if you get to know all these stories on all these gates, you will have quite an understanding of traditional Chinese culture and literature. But there's one missing category. They don't have any tragedies here. This ancestral temple is only for family wealth, longevity, happiness, and good luck.
This courtyard was a focal point for family gathering and important events, such as ancestor worship, weddings, funerals, or even rulings in family disputes. The ancestral temple is symbolically and physically the center of unity. The most well-to-do business people of the past 2 centuries lived in the Xiguan area in a place like this. The guests were greeted in the main hall. The elders would sit in the center, the younger generations on both sides, and the visitors at the guest table. Invariably, tea would be served during the visit. Overhead is the shrine for the ancestors, which is above everything else in the family. The wealth generated from business allowed people to decorate their homes with imported glass and extravagant carvings of all kinds. Behind the main hall is the main bedroom for the head couple of the family.
看这门是往上拉就有自己的声音的。
Oh, so this is the main bedroom, and the elderly of the family will be sleeping here at night. But the place is not without privacy, and this windows can actually be closed at night. 可以关上，可以试试吗？
对，可以试一下。哎，时间太久了，可能关不上。
It's not working. It's time. It's been too old.
它在这边呢，要不
？Okay.
哎。
Good morning. So during daytime, the window is open to make sure the bedroom has enough lighting.
The mansion is made up of a number of rooms, including a living room, a kitchen, and a reading room. You can see authentic old local furniture and other everyday items on display here. They help you to get a feeling for what it must have been like to live here.
这是西关小姐的房间。
Upstairs is where the young unmarried girls live, and they are the most fashionable group of the time.
Women never enjoyed high social status in old China. Back then, a nice girl was somebody who had good embroidering skills and perfectly bound feet. But trade meant exposure to other cultures and open-mindedness on the part of the Xiguan tycoons. They saw to it that their dear daughters were well nurtured and cultured.
Young unmarried girls who lived in such grand houses and sleep on beds like this, they were no ordinary girls. People looked at them for fashion trends, just like they look at Hollywood stars of today. And they were very good at singing and dancing, and some of them could even speak some English, and even drive a car.
Speaking English or driving a car is no longer a special talent, But remember, that wasn't the case more than a century ago. If you are interested in architecture, the Xiamen Island is a good place to go to see some of the classics of Western design. Xiamen was one of the earliest concessions in China, and it is often referred to as a museum of Western architecture. At one time, about 20 countries had consulates here. Later came churches, banks, post offices, hotels, and other buildings. You can find almost all European styles here, but it is predominantly neoclassical and neo-baroque. The ambience and aroma floating in the air has a soothing effect. It is an oasis in the fast-paced and crowded metropolis. One thing you can't miss in Guangzhou is the food. People here love to eat and love to make things to eat. 7 o'clock is usually the peak time. The obsession of food is best explained by an old saying. People in Guangzhou eat anything that flies except a plane, anything that swims except a boat, and anything with 4 legs except a table. The roast pig is one of the best-selling items and a must on every banquet table. The cook only chooses pigs of around 4 kilograms to roast, and the roasting usually lasts 8 minutes. At this level of cooking, you only have your experience to rely on. The crispiness of the skin as well as the shade and evenness of the flesh's color are the signs you look for to tell if it's done. Guangzhou cooking focuses on seafood because the city has ample supplies of marine produce. Freshness is of paramount importance, and cooks steer away from overpowdering spices so they won't spoil the natural taste. To add the flavor, soup made of stewed chicken or pork is often added to vegetables.
Chinese people are very particular about food and cooking. Most of the time we have clear idea about when and where and what to eat. All the Chinese people here in Guangdong are particularly particular about food and cooking. They have developed a refined way of cooking, just like the French people in Europe. So if you ever come to this part of China, do not miss the chance to taste it.
The best time to visit Guangzhou is from October to December, when there is little rain and the temperature allows you to wear just a sweater. The Chen family temple charges a 10 yuan entrance fee. It is also a museum where you could find displays of Cantonese folk arts.
The city of Guangzhou stays up late and gets up early. Sometimes you can't help wondering where they get all that energy. Maybe all the attention paid to health, good food, and tea really pays off. Either way, the Guangzhou people are a mixture of contrasts. Enterprising yet down to earth. Energetic yet relaxed. Daring yet traditional. Around here in the morning, the must-do thing is drinking tea, especially for the old folks. I went to the Banxi Tea House, one of the oldest in the city. The garden-like arrangement of the court adds to the style and pleasure of tea drinking. It has to be one of the most elegant daily rituals of the Chinese. But tea is not the only thing that people come here for. Instead of bar restaurants, Guangzhou specializes in tea house restaurants. And everyone has either sweet or salty dim sum. Dim sum is a style of eating where you pick from a set of small dishes placed on a trolley that makes the rounds of the house. It's kind of a buffet, only the dish comes to you. It's probably the only place in China where you eat food in the name of drinking tea. It goes perfectly with an empty stomach and easy morning. These days, it's often old people who came here every morning. They often line up outside the tea house waiting for the opening time, and that can be as early as 6 o'clock. Some people like it so much they spend the whole day in here.
Drinking tea is an important part of local life. People drink it from morning to noon to evening. It has become a culture, tea culture. You can drink chrysanthemum tea, green tea, that's the only two kinds of I can name, and all kinds of tea processed in different ways. But the most interesting one is Kung Fu tea. Kung Fu, like in term Chinese Kung Fu. It involves a complicated ritual to drink it. So it's like you need some Kung Fu to drink the Kung Fu tea.
Drinking tea is like part of self-cultivation, and the whole preparation process is necessary for a peculiar subtle tasting effect that goes undetected by untrained taste buds. Wander the streets of Guangzhou and you are bound to bump into a liangcha pu, or a cold tea shop. The city is dotted with such little shops selling different brands of liangcha. Guangzhou people drink cold tea like people in other countries drink coffee. But the taste can be unexpectedly different.
It's bitter and warm, like kind of herbal medicine. No wonder it cures your heat and keeps heat out of your system. It's just a medicine. Try it. The sprawling city is a mixture of the new and the old. Many old lanes
stand side to side to the trafficked streets. To get to know the real city, you can also pay a visit to the fish, bird, and flower market. The market is where the local people go to get daily supplies for their pets and balcony gardens. The bird market is like a small bird zoo.
The tea house restaurants are open all day long, so you can have something any time of the day when the other restaurants are closed. You should also try the roadside sweet shops, where they supply simple meals alongside numerous traditional Cantonese dairy sweets.
As night falls, the city becomes even more vibrant.
As a huge commercial center, Guangzhou is a paradise for shopping holics. And this is Shangxiajiu, the oldest shopping street in Guangzhou. I can hardly wait. It's shopping time.
There is a multitude of shopping centers you can go to in Guangzhou in search of everything from big-name brands to some of the lesser-known products. The markets are always crowded every day of the week. People flood into the street to soak up the nightlife. Things really start kicking off around 8 p.m.
伸手中真有把握，时间紧迫，那份爱水深火热，立刻又做出选择，空前绝后，明知道就别错过。
Shangxiajiu, Zhuangyuanfang, and Beijing Street are three of the best places to start your shopping odyssey.
This is so exciting. Right on this modern, crowded shopping street, there are 11 layers of ancient streets. The earliest one was built during Tang Dynasty over 1,000 years ago. I wonder what kind of shops would have stood along those streets.
煽动你立刻选择我。
The essence of the Guangzhou shopping experience does not lie in the brand name. It is the unknown that intrigues the tireless shoppers. It's a game of hide and seek with the added bonus of bargaining thrown in. You can find the trendy, the funky, and the most alternative object of your desire, as long as you have the patience and passion for the hunt.
So, what do you think of my new outfit? This is Beijing Street, this is Guangzhou. You can shop until you drop. But there's much more to this huge metropolis, much more fun. I'll see you around here next week in Guangzhou. This is Travelogue and I'm Liu Changying.
伸手中真有把握，时间紧迫，那份爱水深火